Section 28 of the Endeavour Journal of Sir Joseph Banks. Journal from 25 August 1768 to 12 July 1771 by Joseph Banks. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Gail Timmerman Vaughan. Section 28. December 1769. 1769 December 1. Several canoes were on board by daybreak and sold some things chiefly for Indian cloth and quart bottles. The day misty and stewy. The boats were on shore on the island, which we searched on the 29th, with so little success that we did not think it worth while to go ashore. It is now a long time since I have mentioned their custom of eating human flesh, as I was loath, a long time, to believe that any human beings could have among them so brutal a custom. I am now, however, convinced, and shall here give a short account of what we have heard from the Indians concerning it. At Taoniroa, the first place we landed in on the continent, the boys who we had on board mentioned it of their own accords, asking whether the meat they eat was not human flesh, as they had no idea of any animal but man, so large, till they saw our sheep. They, however, seemed ashamed of the custom, saying that the tribe to which they belonged did not use it, but that another very near did. Since that, we have never failed, whenever we were ashore, and often when we conversed with canoes, to ask the question. We have, without one exception, been answered in the affirmative, and several times, as at Talaga and today, the people have put themselves into a heat by defending the custom, which Tupaya, who had never before heard of such a thing, takes every occasion to speak ill of, exhorting them often to leave it off. They, however, as universally agree that they eat none but the bodies of those of their enemies who are killed in war. All others are buried. 1769 December 2. Boats went ashore on the island again. I do not know what tempted Dr. Solander and myself to go there, where we almost knew nothing was to be got but wet skins, which we had very sufficiently, for it rained all the time we were ashore, as hard as ever I saw it. 1769 December 3. Many canoes were on board in the morn, one very large, which carried 82 people. After breakfast, Dr. Solander and myself went ashore on the continent. We found few plants, and saw but few people, but they were most perfectly civil. We went by their invitation to their little town, which was situated in the bottom of a cove, without the least defence. One of the old men here showed us the instruments with which they stain their bodies, which was exactly like those used at Tahiti. Here we saw also the man who was shot on the 29th in attempting to steal the buoy. The ball had gone through the fleshy part of his arm and grazed his breast. The wound was open to the air without the smallest application upon it, yet it had as good an appearance, and seemed to give him as little pain as if he had had the best dressings to it. We gave him a musket ball, and with a little talking to, he seemed fully sensible of the escape he had had. In the even we went ashore to another island, where were many more people than we had seen in the morn, who lived in the same peaceable style, and had very large plantations of sweet potatoes, yams, etc., all about their village. They received us much as our friends in the morning had done, and, like them, showed much satisfaction at the little presents of necklaces, etc., which were given to them. 1769 December 4. Our old man came on board, and brought with him his brother, who had been shot with small shot on the 29th. It had slanted along his thigh, which I suppose had not less than 100 shots in it. This wound was likewise without any application, and seemed to give him little or no pain, but was crusted over with a hard crust, nature's plaster, equal maybe, when she chooses to apply it, to any that art has contrived. After breakfast we went ashore at a large Indian fort, or ipa. A great number of people immediately crowded about us, and sold almost a boatload of fish in a very short time. They then went and showed us their plantations, which were very large, of yams, cocoas, and sweet potatoes, and after having a little laughed at our seine, which was a common king's seine, showed us one of theirs, which was 5 fathom deep, and its length we could only guess, as it was not stretched out, but it could not from its bulk be less than 400 or 500 fathom. Fishing seems to be the chief business of this part of the country. About all their towns are abundance of nets laid upon small heaps, like haycocks, and thatched over, and almost every house you go into has nets in the making. After this they showed us a great rarity, 6 plants of what they called auta, from whence they make cloth, like the Otaheite cloth. the plant proved exactly the same, as the name is the same as is used in the islands, Morus papifera Linn., the same plant as is used by the Chinese to make paper. Whether the climate does not well agree with it, I do not know, but they seem to value it very much, and that it was very scarce among them I am inclined to believe, as we have not yet seen among them pieces large enough for any use but sticking into the holes of their ears. In the afternoon we went to a very distant part of the bay. The people here were very few. All but one old man ran away from us. He accompanied us wherever we went, and seemed much pleased with the little presents we made him. Near where we landed was a little fort built upon a small rock, surrounded by the sea at high water, and accessible only by a ladder. We expressed a desire to go there. He said there was his wife, but if we would promise to practice no indecencies toward her, he would accompany us. This we did most readily, and he was as good as his word. The ascent was so difficult that though there were steps and a pole, we found it dangerous enough. When we came up, there were in it 3 women, who on our first coming cried, but presents soon put them into better humour. There were in all only 3 houses, but the situation, as I have before described, was so steep that the inhabitants of them might easily defend themselves against almost any force that could be brought against them. 1769 December 5. A small spurt of fair wind before daybreak made us heave up the anchor in a great hurry, but before we were well under way, it was as foul as ever, so we were obliged to attempt turning out. Many canoes came from all parts of the bay, which is by far the most populous place we have been in. In the middle of the day we were becalmed and caught many fish with hooks. About 10 at night, as we were going through the outer heads, on a sudden we were becalmed, so that the ship would neither wear nor stay. In a moment an eddy tide took hold of us, and hustled us so fast toward the land that before the officers resolved what was best to be done, the ship was within a cable's length of the breakers. We had 13 fathom water, but the ground so foul that they dared not drop an anchor. The eddy now took another turn and set her along shore, opening another bay, but we were too near the rocks to trust to that. The pinnace was ordered to be hoisted out in an instant to take the ship in tow. Every man in her was, I believe, sensible of the danger we were in, so now no one spared to do his best to get her out fast. The event, however, showed how liable such situations must be to confusion. They lowered down too soon, and she stuck upon a gun. From this she must be thrust by main force, in doing which they had almost overset her, which would have tumbled out her oars. No man thought of running in the gun. At last that was done, and she was afloat. Her crew was soon in her, and she went to her duty. A faint breeze of wind now sprung up off the land, and with that, and towing, she, to our great joy, got headway again, at a time when she was so near to the shore that Tupaya, who was not sensible of our danger, was conversing with the Indians ashore, who made themselves very distinctly heard, notwithstanding the roaring of the breakers. We were all happy in our breeze and fine clear moonlight. Myself went down to bed, and sat upon my cot undressing myself, when I felt the ship strike upon a rock. Before I could get upon my legs, she struck again. I ran upon deck, but before I could get there, the danger was over. Fortunately, the rock was to windward of us, so she went off without the least damage, and we got into the proper channel, where the officers who had examined the bay declared there to be no hidden dangers, much to our satisfaction, as the almost certainty of being eat as soon as you come ashore adds not a little to the terrors of shipwreck. 1769 December 6. In the morn we were clear of all our dangers, and at sea, to our no small satisfaction, notwithstanding the wind was as foul as possible. 1769 December 7. Wind not much better than yesterday. 1769 December 8. Very light breeze. We have ran off so far from the land that we can distinguish nothing upon it. In the evening, fair wind. 1769 December 9. Fair wind, though but little of it. Many canoes came off, who showed much fear of us, and after some time said they had heard of our guns. Tupaya at last persuaded them to come under the stern, and after having bought of them some of their cloths, which they sold very fairly, began to inquire about the country. They told him that at a distance of 3 days' rowing in their canoes, at a place called Morifenua, the land would take a short turn to the southward, and from thence extend no more to the west. This place we concluded must be Cape Maria van Diemen, and finding these people so intelligent, desired him to inquire if they knew of any countries besides this, or ever went to any. They said no, but that their ancestors had told them to the northwest by north, or north-northwest, was a large country, to which some people had sailed in a very large canoe, which passage took them up a month. From this expedition a part only returned, who told their countrymen that they had seen a country where the people eat hogs, for which animal they used the name boa, as is used in the islands. "And have you no hogs among you?" said Tupaia. "No." "And did your ancestors bring none back with them?" "No." "You must be a parcel of liars then," said he, "and your story a great lie, for your ancestors would never have been such fools as to come back without them." Thus much a specimen of Indian reasoning. After much conversation our friends left us, but promised to return at night, and bring with them fish, which they did, and sold it very reasonably. 1769, December 10. This morn we were near the land, which was as barren as it is possible to conceive. Hills within hills, and ridges, even far inland, were covered with white sand, on which no kind of vegetable was to be seen. It was conjectured by some that the wind blows the sand quite across it. Some Indian forts or ipas were seen, and from them some canoes put off, but did not overtake us. 1769, December 11. Wind as heard, hearted as ever. We turned all day without losing anything, much to the credit of our old collier, who we never fail to praise when she turns as well as this. 1769, December 12. Wind, etc., as yesterday. 1769, December 13. Wind as foul as ever, and rather overblows. We lost all that we had gained last week. 1769, December 14. Blows almost as fresh as it did yesterday, but rather more fair. A heavy swell from the west made us almost conclude that there was no land to the northward of us. 1769, December 15. More moderate, but not more fair. We begin to think this cape our ne plus ultra. 1769, December 16. We stood out to sea yesterday and last night, so that we could in the morn only just see the land from the masthead. Stood in for it, and at night made it plain. 1769, December 17. This morn we were in with the land, which tends a little to the southward, so we hoped that our troubles are nearly at an end. During the day's turning, however, we contrived to lose near a league, no great comfort to us. 1769, December 18. Still more to leeward this morn, and in the even still more. On a rock pretty near us an Indian fort was seen through our glasses, which we all thought was encircled with a mud wall. If so, 'tis the only one of the kind we have seen. 1769, December 19. Stood out to sea last night. Tonight we're in with the land, and found we had gained something, as we did also the last time we stood far off, which made the seamen conclude that some small current along shore must be the reason why we could never get anything by our short trips. 1769, December 20. Some hopes of a fair wind in the morn, but they soon left us, and it began to blow hard, with violent claps of thunder, on which we again stood out to sea. 1769, December 21. Wind not quite so bad as yesterday, but a great swell from the west hindered the ship much. 1769, December 22. Swell as yesterday, but the wind has come more to the southward, so that we cannot come in with the land at all. 1769, December 23. Little wind more favourable than yesterday, so that at night the land was seen from the masthead. 1769, December 24. Land in sight. An island, or rather several small ones, most probably 3 kings, so that it was conjectured that we had passed the cape, which had so long troubled us. Calm most of the day, myself in a boat shooting, in which I had good success, killing chiefly several gannets, or solan geese, so like European ones that they are hardly distinguishable from them. As it was the humour of the ship to keep Christmas, in the old-fashioned way it was resolved of them to make a goose pie for tomorrow's dinner. 1769, December 25. Christmas Day. Our goose pie was eat with great approbation, and in the evening all hands were as drunk as our forefathers used to be upon the like occasion. 1769, December 26. This morn all heads ached with yesterday's debauch. Wind has been easterly these 3 or 4 days, so we have not got at all nearer the island than we were. 1769, December 27. Blows very hard at southeast, so that we again drove off the land. Not much displeased, as we all rejoiced much that it was not an onshore wind. 1769, December 28. Wind now southwest, right on shore, but thank God we have so good an offing that we are not in the least danger. All our sea people said that they never before were in so hard a summer's gale. 1769, December 29. Wind more moderate, but still blows prodigiously fresh, with a monstrous sea. No such summer gales as this to the northward, say our captain. 1769, December 30. Blew very fresh still, though the heart of the gale seemed to be broke. We have been driven much to the northward, so that today we once more passed in sight of Cape Maria and the Three Kings. 1769, December 31. Wind as yesterday. Sea something abated. Stood in for the land, which we had now seen for some time. Dared not venture very near, as the wind was right on shore. It appeared very sandy and barren. End of section 28. December, 1769.